They never see the collapse when it happens. From the outside, a man still rises in the morning, still answers when spoken to, still fulfills his duties. But inside, something has quietly fractured. The fire that once pushed him forward has dimmed. The certainty he once carried has dissolved into hesitation, and he does not know how it happened. Perhaps it was not one great failure, but many small retreats. A promise broken here, a decision postponed there, a dream adjusted downward to avoid disappointment. Year by year, the standard lowered, until one day he looked into the mirror and saw not the man he intended to become, but the man he settled for. That is how a man breaks. Not by catastrophe, but by compromise. And yet I tell you this, a broken man is not a finished man. He is simply a man who has allowed his own words to turn against him. For years he has repeated silent sentences of doubt. Maybe I am not capable. Perhaps it is too late. Others are more fortunate. These phrases, whispered often enough, become commands to the subconscious mind. You have been rebuilding your failure daily, without realizing it. But what if the same law that weakened you could restore you? What if 7 deliberate sentences, repeated with faith, could reconstruct your identity brick by brick? Not empty phrases, not vain hope, but precise declarations aligned with the laws that govern achievement. Consider this carefully. Every great fortune began with a sentence. Every vast enterprise was first spoken in definite form. When a man declares with conviction, "I will," and repeats it until it becomes belief, he sets invisible forces into motion. The world may not hear him, but his subconscious does, and it obeys. You do not need a new opportunity first. You need a new internal command. Picture a quiet morning. No applause, no witnesses, only you and your thoughts. That is where rebuilding begins. Not in the marketplace, but in the mind. The outer world mirrors the inner decree. If the decree is weak, the reflection is weak. If the decree is strong, events rearrange themselves accordingly. Most men attempt to change their circumstances while leaving their internal language untouched. That is why their efforts collapse. They rebuild the house without repairing the foundation. These 7 sentences are not suggestions. They are structural beams. Spoken daily, they replace drift with direction, doubt with definiteness, fear with faith. They awaken the dormant power within you, the same power that raised men from poverty to power, from obscurity to influence. But I warn you, if you treat them casually, they will do nothing. Repetition without belief is noise. Words without decision are hollow. To rebuild yourself, you must speak these sentences as though your future depends upon them, because it does. Think of the cost if you do not. Another year walking half alive. Another season explaining away your potential. Another quiet surrender when life demands courage. The world does not wait for the hesitant. It advances with or without you. Yet the moment you alter your internal speech, you alter your direction. A man is not defeated when he falls. He is defeated when he accepts the language of defeat. Change the language, and you change the man. By the time you finish listening, you will know the 7 sentences that can restore discipline, wealth, purpose, and self-respect. They are simple enough to memorize, powerful enough to transform a lifetime, dangerous enough that most will never commit to saying them daily. Say them with faith, and your mind will begin to search for evidence to support them. Say them with persistence, and your habits will align to justify them. Say them long enough, and the broken image in the mirror will be replaced by a man who walks with certainty again. You are not beyond repair. You are beyond drift. The reconstruction begins with words. A man does not break in a single afternoon. He breaks gradually through a series of small concessions against his own standard. A postponed decision, a promise made lightly and forgotten easily, a disappointment blamed upon circumstance rather than examined within. Thus, without noise or spectacle, the structure weakens. The first sentence that rebuilds him is not gentle. It is not flattering. It is not comforting. It is this: I accept full responsibility for my condition. This sentence restores authority. When a man attributes his position to fate, to the conduct of others, to economic tides, or to unfavorable environment, he places his future in hands not his own. He may speak bravely, but inwardly he waits. He waits for conditions to improve. He waits for recognition. He waits for fortune to change. Waiting weakens. Responsibility strengthens. There's a profound difference between guilt and responsibility. Guilt paralyzes. Responsibility mobilizes. Guilt says, I am unworthy. Responsibility says, I am cause. Therefore, I am capable. Until a man accepts authorship of his present condition, he cannot author his future. This truth is uncomfortable. It removes the comfort of complaint. It strips away the habit of silent accusation. It demands that he examine his own thoughts, decisions, and actions without distortion. Yet in that demand lies liberation. Abraham Lincoln knew repeated defeat. He failed in business. He lost elections. He suffered personal sorrow. Yet he did not surrender to the language of victimhood. He did not declare that destiny had singled him out for injustice. He absorbed defeat as instruction. He refined himself. Responsibility was his silent companion. When a man speaks this first sentence with conviction, something changes in his bearing. His shoulders square. His tone becomes firmer. He ceases to argue with the past and begins to instruct the future. Others detect it immediately. The man who complains invites sympathy. The man who accepts responsibility invites respect. Respect is more valuable than sympathy. Consider the broken man who has whispered to himself for years, I did not receive the chance others had. The time was unfavorable. People failed me. Each of these phrases, repeated often enough, becomes an internal command. The subconscious mind accepts them and produces conduct in harmony with them. Thus, he rebuilds his limitation daily. But when he replaces these phrases with, I am responsible for my condition, the subconscious receives new instruction. It begins to search for causes within rather than outside. Search produces discovery. Discovery produces adjustment. Adjustment produces advancement. Responsibility restores the steering wheel. Without it, you are passenger. With it, you are driver. A man once approached me in discouragement. He described unfavorable conditions, uncooperative associates, and economic hardship. I listened patiently. Then I asked him a simple question. What part of this condition did you create? He hesitated. That hesitation revealed the source of his stagnation. He had not examined his own conduct. He had not considered how indecision, procrastination, or fear may have contributed. Within months of accepting responsibility, his tone altered. He stopped rehearsing grievances. He began studying his own habits. He eliminated certain associations. He refined his methods. His circumstances followed. When you speak the first sentence daily, I accept full responsibility for my condition, you remove the final refuge of weakness. You will feel resistance at first. The mind accustomed to excuse will protest. It will say, but others contributed. Perhaps they did. Yet dwelling upon their contribution yields no power. Power lies in authorship. Let this affirmation strengthen the first sentence. I am the cause of my present condition. Therefore, I possess the power to change it. I do not blame. I build. Speak it each morning before engaging the day. Notice how it alters your perception. When difficulty arises, you will ask, what adjustment must I make? Rather than, why has this happened to me? That question alone can save years. Many men waste 10 years repeating the same complaint. They tell the same story. They gather listeners who confirm their grievance. Each repetition deepens the habit. But the man who assumes responsibility interrupts the pattern immediately. He may have lost position. He may have lost money. He may have lost confidence, yet he will not lose authority. Authority is inward before it is outward. The broken man often lowers his standard quietly. He tells himself, perhaps this is sufficient. He adjusts downward to avoid disappointment. Responsibility challenges that downward adjustment. It asks, did you truly give your best? Did you act decisively? Did you persist? The answers may sting, yet they instruct. Responsibility is not cruelty, it is clarity. Without clarity, no reconstruction can stand. As you practice this first sentence, you will notice another change. You will speak less of what others have done. You will speak more of what you intend to do. Conversation will shift from accusation to action. Those around you will perceive maturity. They will sense steadiness. They will be inclined to trust you with greater responsibility because you demonstrate capacity to bear it. A man who refuses responsibility cannot be entrusted with power. Power requires ownership. This sentence alone can redeem 5 wasted years because it ends repetition. The moment you stop blaming circumstance, you stop repeating it. You interrupt the cycle. Repetition of excuse builds weakness. Repetition of responsibility builds strength. The first sentence is not dramatic. It is foundational. Without it, the remaining 6 are unstable. With it, each additional declaration rests upon solid ground. You are not broken beyond repair. You are simply misdirected. Correct direction begins with ownership. Say it again, slowly, until it settles. I accept full responsibility for my condition. In that sentence lies the beginning of restoration. When a man accepts responsibility, he clears the ground. Yet cleared ground alone does not rebuild a structure. There must be direction. There must be design. The second sentence provides that design. I possess a definite purpose that governs my life. A broken man does not always lack strength. He often lacks aim. His energy leaks through uncertainty. He moves, yet he does not advance. He works, yet he does not accumulate. He speaks of improvement, yet he does not define it. Without a governing purpose, effort becomes scattered. Scattered effort exhausts. Exhaustion without advancement produces discouragement, and discouragement lowers standard. Observe the difference between a drifting man and a directed man. The drifting man responds to events. His day is shaped by interruption. He entertains ideas but commits to none. His speech is filled with possibility yet absent of decision. The directed man rises with intention. His conversations align with his aim. His reading supports his aim. His associations strengthen his aim. His expenditures reflect his aim. Energy organizes itself around purpose. Edwin C. Barnes did not begin with position. He began with purpose. Before he possessed influence, before he possessed opportunity, he possessed decision. He declared internally that he would become associated with Thomas Edison. He did not say, I shall try various pursuits and observe what fortune provides. He fastened his mind upon one objective. That fastening altered his conduct. When he approached Edison's office, he did not present himself as uncertain applicant. He carried the bearing of a man already directed. Others sensed it. Purpose expresses itself in posture. It steadies the voice. It eliminates unnecessary explanation. It produces quiet intensity. The second sentence is not about vague ambition. It is about governance. A purpose that governs excludes lesser distractions. It subordinates impulse. It disciplines desire. Many men exhaust themselves pursuing 5 ambitions simultaneously. They admire one occupation in the morning and another in the evening. They read widely yet commit narrowly. Years pass in divided loyalty. Divided loyalty weakens power. To rebuild yourself, you must decide what shall govern you. This does not mean you abandon all other interests. It means you choose one chief aim that commands priority. Other interests take their place beneath it. Henry Ford did not scatter his imagination among dozens of industries. He fixed it upon the practical motor car. That purpose governed his hours. It governed his associations. It governed his persistence. His acquaintances at first saw stubbornness. Later they saw vision. The difference was time combined with constancy. Without constancy, purpose appears like whim. With constancy, it appears like destiny. A man once confessed to me that he felt broken not by failure, but by aimlessness. He rose each morning uncertain of what he truly sought. He worked diligently, yet his efforts were reactive. He felt busy and hollow simultaneously. I instructed him to write a single purpose that would govern his conduct for the next 5 years. Not a dream list, one aim. The act unsettled him. He feared limiting himself. Yet when he wrote and read that purpose daily, something within him quieted. Clarity replaced restlessness. Within months, his conversations changed. He declined engagements that did not serve his direction. He sought knowledge directly related to his aim. His associates began to describe him as focused. Focus is attractive. People trust a man who knows where he is going. They invest in him. They cooperate with him. They recommend him. Drift inspires caution. Purpose inspires confidence. Let this affirmation strengthen the second sentence. My life is governed by a definite purpose. I subordinate lesser desires to its fulfillment. I move with direction and certainty. Speak it each morning after declaring responsibility. Purpose restores self-respect. When a man lacks purpose, he lowers his expectations quietly. He adjusts downward to avoid disappointment. He accepts mediocrity because he has no clear standard by which to measure himself. But when purpose governs, he measures daily conduct against declared aim. He asks, did this action advance my chief objective? If not, he corrects. Correction builds dignity. Purpose also conserves energy. Without it, attention wanders. With it, attention concentrates. Concentration multiplies effectiveness. 1 year of concentrated effort can accomplish what 10 years of scattered interest cannot. This is how you save 10 years of your life, not by laboring more intensely in all directions, but by channeling strength into one commanding objective. Consider Andrew Carnegie's ascent. He selected steel as his instrument. He did not chase every opportunity that appeared. He deepened his knowledge within chosen field. He gathered associates aligned with that purpose. His life was not governed by impulse, it was governed by design. Others perceived coherence in him. They sensed reliability. They entrusted him with greater responsibility. The broken man often fears committing to one purpose because he has been disappointed before. He says, what if I choose wrongly? Yet the greater danger lies in choosing nothing. A wrong aim, pursued with determination, often leads to right opportunity through adjustment. No aim leads only to repetition. Purpose clarifies association. When you possess governing objective, you instinctively seek those who support it and avoid those who undermine it. Your circle refines. Your counsel improves. The atmosphere around you changes. People who once spoke of trivial matters may find your conversation different. You speak of direction. You speak of progress. You speak of service aligned with aim. They may not understand fully, but they will feel difference. This difference is power in quiet form. To rebuild a broken man, one must restore his direction. Without direction, strength dissipates. With direction, strength accumulates. Say the second sentence again with conviction. I possess a definite purpose that governs my life. Let it replace confusion with command. Let it transform wandering into advancement. And watch how steadily your steps begin to align with the man you intended to become. A man may accept responsibility. He may declare a definite purpose. Yet if he measures life only by what he receives, his reconstruction will stall. The third sentence restores the moral engine of progress. I will render more service than I am paid for. This sentence rebuilds both income and character. A broken man often feels overlooked. He believes he has given enough. He compares his reward to that of others and quietly nurtures resentment. That resentment poisons initiative. It narrows effort to the minimum required. Minimum effort produces minimum opportunity. The law of achievement does not reward what you are paid for. It rewards what you contribute beyond expectation. This is a principle of natural justice. In every enterprise I have studied, the men who rose most rapidly were those who rendered service greater in quality, quantity, and spirit than their position demanded. They did not wait for promotion to give their best. They gave their best and compelled promotion. The clerk who became partner did not perform only assigned duties. He studied the entire operation. He suggested improvements. He took responsibility without being asked. His employer saw in him more than an employee. He saw initiative. Initiative is visible service. Charles M. Schwab rose not by inheritance, but by enthusiasm and willingness to exceed expectation. He did more than required. He inspired others. His spirit of service created influence. Influence creates opportunity. A man who renders only what he is paid for remains dependent upon instruction. A man who renders more becomes indispensable. Indispensability is wealth in another form. When you speak this third sentence daily, I will render more service than I am paid for, you reorient your mind from complaint to contribution. You cease asking, why am I not rewarded? And begin asking, where can I add greater value? This shift alone can reclaim years of stagnation. Many men remain in modest position not because of conspiracy, but because of limitation in service. They perform adequately. Adequacy rarely attracts advancement. Excellence compels recognition. There may be delay between service and reward. This delay discourages the impatient. Yet the law of increasing returns operates steadily. Each act of superior service plants seed. Some seeds germinate quickly. Others require season, but none are lost. Henry Ford insisted upon superior quality in production. He did not reduce standards to increase immediate profit. By giving value to the public, he created loyalty. Loyalty created wealth. The man who gives more than expected builds reputation. Reputation travels beyond sight. Others speak of him when he is absent. They recommend him. They defend him. They recall his reliability. This invisible capital multiplies opportunity. The broken man often believes he must first receive confidence before he gives effort. The rebuilding man reverses the order. He gives effort and earns confidence. This third sentence rebuilds dignity. Resentment diminishes posture. Service elevates it. Observe the difference in bearing between a man who performs reluctantly and one who performs generously. The former appears burdened. The latter appears purposeful. Purpose energizes. Let this affirmation strengthen your resolve. I give more than expected. I increase the quality, quantity, and spirit of my service daily. The law returns it multiplied. Speak it before engaging your work. When obstacles arise, ask not how to avoid them, but how to master them. When instruction seems unclear, seek clarity rather than excuse. When opportunity to assist appears, accept it willingly. Such conduct alters perception. Employers begin to trust you with responsibility beyond your current position. Associates seek your counsel. Clients prefer your service. You become a source rather than a consumer. This is how wealth begins, not by demanding increase, but by justifying it. Andrew Carnegie observed closely the men around him. He advanced those who rendered service with enthusiasm and initiative. He did not promote the merely competent. He promoted the indispensable. You must decide which you shall be. To rebuild yourself, you must restore the habit of contribution. A broken man sometimes measures his value by salary alone. When salary disappoints, he concludes that he is limited. The rebuilding man measures value by service rendered. He knows that salary eventually follows value. This knowledge gives him patience. Patience with effort is strength. There will be moments when you feel unnoticed. Continue giving. There will be days when reward appears distant. Continue giving. Each act of superior service strengthens character. Character strengthens confidence. Confidence influences opportunity. You may save 10 years of frustration by adopting the sentence now. 10 years of resentment can be replaced by 1 year of increasing service. Imagine the cumulative effect of 12 months in which you consistently exceed expectation. Your skill will sharpen. Your reputation will expand. Your confidence will deepen. Others will describe you as dependable, enthusiastic, capable. These words open doors, and doors open into rooms where greater opportunity resides. The third sentence does more than improve income. It restores pride. There is satisfaction in knowing you have given your best. That satisfaction strengthens identity. It reduces the internal conflict that weakens resolve. Speak it again. I will render more service than I am paid for. Let it govern your conduct today, and watch how gradually, yet inevitably, your circumstances begin to reflect the value you have chosen to provide. A man may accept responsibility. He may govern himself by definite purpose. He may render more service than required. Yet if he allows his mind to wander into fear, doubt, and envy, he will rebuild one day and weaken the next. The fourth sentence restores command at the source of all action. I discipline my thoughts and direct my attention. The broken man is often not defeated by circumstance, but by uncontrolled imagination. He rehearses failure before it arrives. He magnifies criticism. He compares himself unfavorably to others. He entertains the 6 ghosts of fear as daily companions. Fear of poverty, fear of criticism, fear of ill health, fear of loss of love, fear of old age, fear of death. These specters gain power through repetition. Thoughts repeated become beliefs. Beliefs influence conduct. Conduct produces result. Thus the mind, left undisciplined, becomes architect of defeat. To rebuild a man, one must rebuild his thought. The mind is a garden. If you do not plant deliberately, weeds grow by default. Doubt grows naturally in the absence of command. Fear flourishes when attention is not directed. Henry Ford endured ridicule from those who declared his plans impossible. Had he entertained their voices, he would have abandoned his efforts early. Instead, he disciplined attention. He concentrated upon design and execution. He refused to allow external doubt to become internal decree. Attention is choice. You may not control all events. You control where your mind rests upon them. When you speak the fourth sentence daily, you remind yourself that your thoughts are servants, not masters. You choose what you will dwell upon. You choose which ideas will receive repetition. This is not denial of reality. It is selection of focus. If a temporary defeat appears, you may examine it for instruction, but you must not rehearse it as identity. If criticism arises, you may evaluate it for truth, but you must not internalize it as verdict. The broken man often says, "I cannot help what I think." That statement itself is surrender. The disciplined man says, "I choose my thoughts." This choice alters bearing. A man who governs his attention speaks calmly. He listens without agitation. He responds without haste. Others sense stability in him. Stability invites trust. When envy appears, and it will, discipline converts it into study. Instead of resenting the success of another, you ask, what qualities have they developed? What habits have they cultivated? Thus, envy becomes instruction rather than poison. When fear of poverty whispers, you counter with memory of service rendered and purpose declared. When fear of criticism intrudes, you recall that every great leader endured it. Thought discipline is not suppression. It is direction. Let this affirmation guide you. My mind serves my purpose. I direct my attention toward faith, courage, and constructive action. I dismiss thoughts that weaken me. Speak it when doubt attempts entry. Thomas Edison faced thousands of unsuccessful experiments before perfecting his invention. Had he interpreted each failure as proof of incapacity, progress would have ceased. Instead, he interpreted each as elimination of error. He directed attention toward solution. Attention magnifies what it rests upon. If you rest upon limitation, limitation expands. If you rest upon opportunity, opportunity reveals itself. The broken man often wakes and allows the first thought of the day to be worry. That worry shapes mood. Mood shapes conduct. Conduct shapes result. The rebuilding man rises and deliberately fixes his mind upon purpose. He reads his written aim. He repeats his affirmations. He directs his thought before the day directs it. This small act repeated daily can save years of mental drift. 10 years may be lost not through lack of effort, but through lack of mental control. A man may labor intensely while entertaining doubt. Such labor yields partial fruit. When thought and action align, fruit multiplies. Others perceive the difference. They will say, "He appears calm under pressure." They will note that you do not react impulsively. They will observe that your speech carries assurance. This assurance is not arrogance. It is controlled thought. Controlled thought also guards against excessive elation. Success, like failure, can distort attention. If you dwell too long upon applause, discipline weakens. The steady mind acknowledges success without surrendering focus. The rebuilding of a man is delicate work. It requires constant supervision of thought. One indulgent hour of self-pity can undo a day of progress. One uncontrolled reaction can erode reputation. Therefore, discipline must be daily. You cannot master thought once and consider it finished. It is ongoing command. Yet this command becomes easier through repetition. At first, you will catch yourself entertaining doubt after it has lingered. With practice, you will detect it sooner. Eventually, you will prevent it from settling. That is mastery. The fourth sentence is not dramatic, but it is decisive. Without it, the other 6 weaken. With it, they strengthen. Say it again. I discipline my thoughts and direct my attention. Feel the authority in it. You are not prisoner of circumstance. You are guardian of mind. And when the mind is governed, the man begins to walk with quiet power again. There is a stage in every man's rebuilding when enthusiasm fades and effort feels ordinary. It is here that many surrender. They have accepted responsibility. They have declared purpose. They have rendered service. They have disciplined thought. Yet when reward does not arrive swiftly, they interpret delay as denial. The 5th sentence prevents that collapse. I persist until success is achieved. This is not stubbornness without intelligence. It is constancy of purpose supported by adaptation of method. It is the refusal to abandon the aim while remaining flexible in approach. Most men do not fail from incapacity. They fail from surrender. The story of the gold prospector who abandoned his claim 3 feet from fortune illustrates this truth. He labored with hope, encountered resistance, and concluded that the vein had vanished. Another, guided by counsel, advanced 3 additional feet and uncovered wealth. 3 feet divided poverty from abundance. How many men stand within similar distance of their breakthrough, yet withdraw because discouragement whispers that effort is futile? Temporary defeat is not signal to retreat. It is signal to think. A broken man often carries the memory of past disappointment. When new resistance appears, that memory magnifies doubt. He says, "I have tried before." In that phrase lies surrender. The rebuilding man replaces it with, "I can